there that's going to be discussing if someone breaches those agreements, how that is to be dealt with?
That's a really good question. For right now, we're not having sort of more questions right now. This is the proposal as it stands. In your group, you may want to talk about that and say, we really think that that's an important thing that needs to be added. So every group can offer suggestions or anything that they want about proposals.
Did you say that it will be up on the computer?
Yes.
Can you tell us about when?
Hopefully
It's already on there.
It's
Oh,
already
sorry,
on
I
there.
can't talk.
Yeah, it's already on there in one section, but we should have it all be in the same section. And I'll tell you. Well, let's do this last group, and then I'll explain how to do the proposal stuff. Access it online for all of you, very responsible delegates. Okay, so let's run that. All right, so Tim, would you like to introduce your group?
Sure, my name's Tim, and I'm can I borrow that, please? I'm the spokesperson for the Tim's Affinity Group, and I have given a lot of thought on what to say to you all. I have been trying to address this issue of the CC for months, starting when it was just a proposal. My comments are archived on the occupyasheville.org site. I had reservations as it was written, and then as I started to come to the CC meeting and saw how the process was fundamentally altered in its application, I was disturbed. The first CC meeting I came to was the vote on a group, I think the anti-nukes. At this meeting, everyone was able to be part of the process, so I thought, well, let's see how it goes. I stood aside for the vote, saying I feel that groups shouldn't have to politic to get on the CC, and that all good groups should have a place on the coordinating committee. Also at that meeting, when introductions were going around, I stated I was from Tim's Affinity Group, hereafter to be called TAG, and I have to say I've been promoting this affinity group ever since the Occupy group started to think of using the Spokes Council module. The next meeting I missed. When I came to the meeting after, that only reps from groups could speak. I tried to address the group on my feelings that all groups should have a place on the coordinating committee before the meeting, making my feelings known, as this was the only time I could talk. I was told to be quiet. At the end of the meeting, I told the group I would need about 20 to 30 minutes at the next meeting to discuss what I felt and feel is a major issue and my intentions to have my group join the CC. I have explained myself over and over to individuals on Facebook and the Occupy.org site. My points are very valid. Changing the admission process for groups as you have is a fundamental and major change in process that is not backed by the document that defines the coordinating committee, and as such would not be in the scope of self-management by the group, but could only happen by revision of the document and ratification by GA. One problem I'm having is the words we use, because I have a fair grasp of the terminology spokes council, consensus, affinity group, point of process, etc. As I was part of the Spokes Council meetings during the actions leading up to the Second Gulf War and when the war broke out in San Francisco, and in many other actions and groups which used the consensus process, and I read voraciously. This ain't my first rodeo. But here in Asheville Occupy, although the same words are used, the meanings are altered and different. I'll read it all, I guess. I am dysgraphic, as I have mentioned before, and I have a very hard time putting things on paper. So sometimes it takes me a minute to get my ducks in a row, as my organizational skills are lacking. It's frustrating to be discounted, not heard, ignored, and when process and facilitation breaks down. I apologize if anyone's feelings were hurt by my outburst last week. We come from different backgrounds, and in my world, what I said would be interpreted differently. It was meant as an expression of frustration at process not being met, nothing directed in a personal way, but to the system as a whole. I urge you all to read the coordinating committee document and realize we can change horses midstream if the horse we are riding on only has one leg. That's what point of process is all about. Point of process, a belief that the facilitators or speakers are working outside the proper procedure. Affinity is a word used in a variety of fields, usually to indicate some kind of preference, a relationship, or a potential or actual closeness between two entities. Affinity groups are organized in a non-hierarchical manner, usually using consensus decision-making, and are often made of trusted friends. They provide a method of organization that is flexible and decentralized. Okay, and then I point out whatever, and then I explain what dysgraphia is, and then here's my application to the coordinating committee. And when I posted it online, I had to put this on there, and it wasn't put on when my admission statement was read to the group. I do not consider this an application for acceptance to the coordinating committee. Rather, a what do you do, what have you done piece. As stated before, all affinity groups, working groups, and caucuses will be admitted to the CC. Name, tag, affinity group, number of members, free-flowing and fluid, 5 to 20, depending upon the action and need for skills. When do you meet? Most meet as needed through communication, phone, internet, and in person, sometimes on a daily basis. Right now at the houses of the affinity group members, but we will hold public meetings once a week, probably at Firestorm or other public space that's free access. What do you do? Direct action, education, video and picture documentation of events and actions. Networking on social media, support and actions with other working groups. Information gathering and communication with other Occupy-related folk. What have you done? Direct actions, pickets, occupations at different locations. Support and aid to other working groups, people, and individual actions. Videos posted on YouTube. I should have put Ustream in there too, live stream. Direct action through education, video and picture documentation of events and actions. Networking on social media, support and action with other working groups. Information gathering and communication with other Occupy-related folk. What decisions do you make as a working group? When, why, and how of all of the above? And if and how to support others, groups, and actions. What kind of proposals would your group submit to the coordinating council that need consensus from Occupy Asheville? The printing of propaganda, funding for things we could not afford ourselves, calls to action, position statements, promoting an open, accessible GA coordinating committee process that allows input from all. And would you like to have a delegate on the council? Yes. And then I'd put a little quote from this Italian guy. Dichotomies between the personal and political, the classic us and them, activists and non-activists, violence and non-violence, and of course protesters and police seem outmoded ways of thinking in a movement that has been inspired by numerous types of thinking, from postmodern, ecological, late feminism, or anarchism, which emphasize processes, continuums, relationships, systems, and networks. Rebel clowns refuse all dichotomies. In fact, they introduce questions about who commands, who protests. Thank you.
And so we can include that in your proposal, make sure everything is there we'll put it on the proposal section. Is that right?
Sure, I think I already posted and already started on the occupyasheville.org. A working group, the thing is, but it is private and you have to ask for membership. So, that's just a way to keep people that are not part of the group posting on our page. And that was consensus among our group because we felt if it's going to be our group, we're going to be the people that post on it. So.
All right. So now, as a group, it is our responsibility as delegates to go and take the proposal back in its entirety and discuss it, and then come back next Monday with a consensus about it, with everything that has been said.
Just a question, when you said that, can we get to you through Occupy Asheville?
The affinity group, yes. It's on the working groups page. You click on working groups or something, and then you'll see Tim's affinity group tag. I think we put it in as actually just the application. The letter was more so a letter to the coordinating council, but I did post the letter on occupyasheville. The Facebook info and the Occupy Asheville free soapbox page, and it's also on facilitation and coordinating committee's site too. And you can comment and respond on any of those. Maybe we can, if If you want to respond, maybe do it on the facilitation site, maybe, or no, the coordination site, so it's all in one place, so I can look at it. But it doesn't matter. I'll probably check them all anyway. So.
Thank you. All right. So that concludes our proposal section, and so now we're going to move on to coordinating. So a couple questions about.
It's not a question. Point of information. Well, it's actually a question about a point of information. I just want to ask if it's there was some factual or statements about the process setting and which I believe are incorrect. And if it's going into the minutes, you know, as you said, I'm fine not doing that now, but I just wonder if it's appropriate to say like.
What's incorrect?
Well, I'm asking for permission.
Part of it is so there are different opinions about the actual proposal, what the planning council proposal says, and so the conversation about that is not now is not the best time to have that conversation.
Okay, I'm fine with
just to acknowledge that we have different views about it, and all views are important, and we need to have further discussion to make this the best process possible. So, again, trying to hear from the delegates here. Was there another thing before we move on to the coordinating aspect of our meeting? Yeah, we'll do announcements at the coordinating aspect. That'll be like our first kind of thing. So we have can you take back about